Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. This is going to be episode 28 of our Let's Play Kerbal Space Program series. And this is going to be a compilation video. If you watched the last video, I talked a little bit about our plans going forward, how we're going to progress through our 50-point checklist. And so the first thing we need to do is finish probing all of the planets, all of the different systems. So we've already been to Duna and Eve, so we still have to go to Moho, we have to go to Jool, Eeloo, and Dres. So in this video I'm gonna do some cutting and pasting, and I'm gonna capture the video of me doing that at each planet. So I'll go over the build for each mission, and then I will just cut to the part where we capture our orbit around that planet. And I'm going to keep the long play for anyone who wants to watch the individual planet videos. I will keep the long play. I'll have a link in the description below in this video. If you want to watch the full video of each planet, how I get to the planet and get the orbit, I will make that available, but it's not going to be part of this playlist. So if you want to see that, you'll have to find it in the description below, or just go to my channel and you should be able to find it there. So to get started, we're going to start with Moho, and we need to figure out our delta V that we're going to need for this. So we'll have our standard 3800 to get into orbit, and then a 950 to break the Kerbal sphere of influence, and we need 760 to intercept Moho, and we need quite a bit of delta V for the plane change. The delta V map calls for 2500 delta V to change our inclination to match Moho. That's a pretty big change. In fact, of all the planets, that's the biggest plane change that we'll have to make. And then from that point to get the orbit, we need another 2410. So that's going to be quite the we need about 10,500 delta V for this. That's a lot. That is a lot. But I do have a ship that I had built. Trying to remember what it was. Was it this? Yeah, maybe it was this one here. So I made this. This was going to be, I was toying around with that. I have the contract for the Minimus orbital station. I haven't done that yet, but I was just messing around to see if I could lift it all in one section. And this will actually do the trick, so I may take care of that at some point off camera. But I came up with this rocket for it, and if I take all this weight off of here, I wonder how much delta V we would have. So let's find out. We'd still have to build a section here. This can lift easily, gets this to Minimus. I've tested it already in a test world. So this rocket setup should have quite a bit of delta V with just a probe on top of it. And just go over this rocket right quick. We have so we obviously have the 4 boosters. They're liquid booster tanks. I have 5 of the main cell engines down here, and they all burn at the same time, but I have the tanks asparagus staged. So let's see if I can show the fuel delivery overlay. So if you see here, this tank is feeding into this tank. and then this tank is feeding into the main tank. And the same for over here. I have the opposite side set up. This tank's feeding into this one, and then this one's feeding into this one. And we'll stage, let me turn that off. There we go. Okay, so I have these two here. If you look at what's being highlighted, they'll stage first. So these two here will run out of fuel first, so I'll stage them off. And then these two on the opposite side of each other will run out next, and we'll still have the main tank. It won't be completely full, but we'll have this main tank here that will continue to burn. And then I have an upper stage. We have a poodle up here that in a vacuum, well, let's look at our delta V. See, I have 7,000 delta V in a vacuum with all this weight on top. We currently have 350 tons of mass. That's quite a bit of weight there. And with that, we have 7,000 delta V. So I'm thinking this setup might just work for our Moho mission. So we'll need a probe with control, so we'll need an antenna for that. And then we're actually going to need some large antennas. I need to check the antenna spreadsheet and make sure we have enough antenna to make this work. So let me check that right quick. Okay, so here we are with our antenna spreadsheet. So we have the DSN level 3, and if we use two HG55s and we're going from Kerbal to Moho, let's do that here. Yeah, that'll work. We'll have 84% at minimum strength, or max. This will be max distance. Our signal strength will be 84, so we should be good with two HG55s, which we have. That's these here. We have some bigger ones, but these will do fine. So we'll do that. So let's put some battery on this thing. These have 4,000. I should probably look at my research. Let me save this for a second. As a Moho probe, I just want to show where I'm at on my research. So I have 2,067 science points. I don't think I've spent anything else off camera yet. I did do the specialized electrics, which gave us these new batteries, 4,000 electric charge. I don't think I've done anything else off camera. I'm trying to wait and do the upgrades on camera. I don't think there's anything special we're going to need for this mission. So, but I just wanted to give you an update on this. This is where we're at, and we have quite a bit of science, and we should have a lot of science on all the different space stations we have out right now. I need to go back and collect all that at some point, but I will do that on camera. As much as I can, I want to show where all the science is coming from. I have got a lot off camera from doing contracts here and there, but anyway, so Moho. So we'll have this for control. Let us put reaction wheel on here. Thinking maybe 2 because we have a pretty big rocket underneath, and this might be difficult to turn that thing. So we're going to need, well, so before we do this, let me put another service bay on, because we're going to need some things on here. I do need to do some science of some kind when I'm out on these missions. Well, I guess we'll just use the old modular segment here. Okay, we have that. I think we have enough battery on here, but we do need communications. We'll need 2 of these. Okay, that works. And then for power, Gigantors. There we go. So make sure these don't hit each other. Okay, that should be good. Retract antenna, retract solar arrays. So that should be all we need for the actual probe. We have science on here, thermometer. We have antennas beefy enough to get a signal at Moho. We have power generation. We have 4,000 battery storage. So that should do. Now let's put our fairing on, and then our big rocket. Let's do that. And then we'll put on our big rocket and just see what kind of delta V we get. $98.08. In a vacuum. Yeah, I said we needed about 10,000, I believe. Yes, we need about 10,440, and we have 98.08. That puts us about 600 short. So we can see if we can add to this section here. Well, before I do that, I should see. We need to add about 400, so, or no, about 600. So if we can get this section up to about 43, it's 42. I think we're going to try that because I always have a little extra from my orbit capture. And maybe that will translate to being able to get on out there. And plus, the 2410 to capture an orbit of Moho is assuming a tight 20-kilometer orbit. We can be, you know, a 1,000,000-kilometer orbit. As long as we're in the sphere of influence of the planet, we can meet our goal here. So I'm going to give this a try, and it will probably we'll use this same setup for all of them. Just, you know, this will be what we send to every, because if we can reach Moho, I think we'll be able to reach everything else with this, simply because this one has such a large inclination burn adjustment. I think that makes this one probably, just looking at the chart, you know, quick glance here, I believe this is going to be the largest delta V requirement of all of them. So this should work for all of the planets we have to do. So I'm going to give this a try and see what happens. Uh-oh. Why is this? Oh man, I didn't. Oh shoot. I had the staging wrong. I hope that's not destroying my facility. All right, well, we got close. It ended up just being a flyby, but next time when we come back with our relay network, we're going to have to make sure we've got a lot more delta V than this, because this is just not enough to get an orbit. I'm going to save some fuel, let this thing wander where it wants to. We may at some point have some use for this, so I'll leave about the 1970 delta V that's on here. But anyway, this is our Moho encounter, our flyby. Unfortunately, I was hoping to do an orbit, but didn't have enough delta V to get the orbit capture. But we did at least get our science from here, and we can move on to the next planet. Okay, and now for Dres. Dres will be next. And we are going to keep using this same rocket that we've been using. So we used, let's see, where is it? Moho probe. We're going to use this rocket. We sent this to Moho and was able to get a flyby. I didn't have enough delta V to get an orbit capture, but we did get the flyby. And in this episode, we're going to shoot for Dres. Now, Dres is a lot farther out. It's going to take 1 year and about 170 days to get there. But it doesn't require as much delta V as Moho did. So this should be... Moho required the most delta V. This rocket should be good to do all of the planets. Okay, well that was a successful mission to Dres. We have got a probe in orbit around this planet now. And I'm going to grab a couple little screenshots here. There's not really any good ones. It's kind of a dull planet, just a gray. It might be pretty easy to land on though. It looks like there's some flat surfaces there. But anyway, that does it for Dres. And the next planet that we go to will be Jool. So here's the ship. We've been using this ship for every mission. It's worked pretty well. We were not able to capture an orbit around Moho, unfortunately, but I did get Dres pretty easy. And up next, we're going to Jool, and it requires less delta V than this ship has, so we should be good to go. Okay, so one thing I noticed, I don't have enough antenna to reach the Jool system. If I try to go out there with this, we would barely have signal in certain parts, but then in other parts we would have no signal. So I've got to upgrade my antennas, and I have bigger antennas. I need 2 of these. I don't have them unlocked yet. I'm going to need the RA100s. So we're going to have to spend some science points and grab the larger antenna. This one here is what I need. So I'm going to spend 550 points on this, get our bigger antenna, and we'll have to use this for Jool and for Eeloo. Now let's see how big are these going to be. They're probably pretty massive. I could just put one right on the end. I could get away with one, actually. One would work for this mission. In fact, what if we... Let me take a look at my spreadsheet and I'll be right back. Okay, so it looks like with this antenna, and I could stick two of these back on the sides here where I had them. We really don't need two of these, but if I have two of these on here along with the 100, that would give me a minimum of 51% signal strength. So I think we're going to go with this. This will be our setup for Jool. I didn't check Eeloo, but I imagine we'll probably have to have something similar for Eeloo. But anyway, this will work. So let's get this fairing built back. And try this again. Alright, well here we are in the Jool sphere of influence. I do not see it. It should be in front of me here somewhere. We're still pretty far out. Before I get up close, I wanted to make sure of something here. So I was going in for this pretty low 290,000 meter periapsis. It's going to be a pretty tight orbit. I just want to make sure that we're going to have signal strength to get our orbit capture here. So I can capture the orbit with, it's only a 19-minute burn time. That's because I have these turned way down. If I go back to something like this, okay, I can get it to 10 seconds. So what I'm looking at is, will I be in comm range right here for 10 seconds? I believe we will. Because we probably won't, because here's Kerbal. If you imagine a line from Kerbal to my periapsis there, that should be in contact, in range there. So I think we'll be fine to do that. So I'm going to go ahead, I think. There's Jool. So I think I'm going to go ahead and warp to this node. I'm going to get on my position first. Wow, look at Jool. Okay, I got to get a screenshot here. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool planet. All right, enough of that. Let's get, oh, we got to burn. I'm spending too much time sightseeing and almost forgot to do my orbit. All right, we have I don't know if I want to do a full. I think I'm going to leave this in a big orbit for now. Let's get our science while we're out here. And science is complete. So we have ourselves an orbit around Jool, and it's a pretty big orbit. But I'm kind of leaving this as a big orbit for now, just because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this probe yet. I may end up pushing this periapsis out making a large orbit so that it'll help with communications. But I think for now I'm just going to leave it like this until we figure out what our needs are, and we'll go from there. But that does it for Jool. We have now sent a probe to Moho, Eve, Duna, Dres, and Jool, and all that is left is Eeloo. So we will do Eeloo next. So here's the Eeloo ship. Let's just rename this Eeloo. E-E-L-O probe. And I'm mainly doing that for when I'm trying to find an object in space. If it's named Eeloo probe, I know where to go. So I'm going to make one change to this one that is different from the last probe that we sent out. And in this one, we really need 2 RA100s. We could get by with these, but we'll only have about 16% signal strength at the farthest points. And I'd rather have, so with two RA100s, I think we only get about 30-something%. So I want to find a spot to take these off. And I don't know if I could just put 2 on the sides maybe. It's going to make my fairing pretty large if I do that. And it really doesn't like... Can I go there and still open my panels? I think that's going to pose a problem for... Man, these are just big. I wonder if something like that would work. I'm sure it would. I'm wondering if could we add 3? How big is this thing? Oh, this is small. Oh, wow. That's what we're going to do right there. Let's look at the spreadsheet, because this is the 8888. So here we have our spreadsheet. If I do the 8888 Communitron, and we're going to have 2 of those, that gets us 45% out here at Eeloo. So that's what we're going to do. We'll just do, I'm actually wondering if we could do 3 of those. That's even better. That's 71%. I like that better. I had not used these before. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this off. And what if we, can I go 3 of these somewhere? Instead of that, what if we do, if I put 2 of these here, and I put 1 on top here. Like so. Now a concern I had was with this hitting these panels, so I wonder, can we put these around on the sides? Actually, I think what I'll do, I'll just lower these. I'll put these here. And I'll go ahead and put 2 of these on the sides. That should do the trick. And for now, why don't we add a action group for toggle antenna. Toggle antenna. Okay, there we go. And on that same action group, I can toggle the solar panels. Alright, and we'll just build back our fairing, and then we'll be ready to head off to Eeloo. Okay, let's do it. Wow, we are finally here in the Eeloo sphere of influence, and if you notice, we are T plus 6 years, 146 days to get out here. It's a long way, and we still have to get over to the planet. But yeah, that was a long time to just sit there and fast forward time. But we're here now. We should have plenty to get a capture. I think it's going to take a couple thousand, but we should still have that to get it. And let's just go. Let's keep it out here about like that. And so there's Kerbal. If we're doing our maneuver here, we should have line of sight. Should be good to make our orbit burn. Okay, let's get on that maneuver node. There it is. There's a big snowball. It's more like there's a planet, or there's a moon on Enceladus, I think is how you pronounce it. I think it's around Saturn, or maybe, yeah, I think it's a Saturn moon. But it's basically a big ice ball like this. Well, this is going to take a couple minutes, but then we'll have our capture around Eeloo, and that will have our every system probed at least. And then we can start working on doing some other things. And I'm going to keep it a large orbit, large elliptical orbit like we did on a couple others, just for fuel conservation. Not sure exactly what we'll use this for in the future. It'll be here if we need it. But we have to do the official, get some science going. And done. So we have done it. We have sent a probe to every system now. So this opens up the next step. Of course, we're going to focus on Moho and finish that system first, and then we will move on. I guess we're going to try to do Eve next. Just go up the list: Eve, then Duna, then probably Jool, then Dres, then Eeloo. But I'm debating on doing Eve last. Actually, I may skip that one and go on to Duna next, just because it's going to be so difficult launching off of Eve, getting back into orbit. The other planets, like Eeloo and Dres, they're comparable to the moon. Duna it's going to take about 1,500 to get back off of the surface, so that's not terrible. It's just Eve is going to require 8,000 delta V. Moho 870, so it's, yeah, Eve is going to be the difficult one, so we actually may save that one for last. We'll do Moho and then skip Eve, go to Duna, and then we may go ahead and knock out Dres and Eeloo and then come back and work on Jool, because when we get to Jool, there's 5 moons in Jool that we have to land on. So yeah, we're going to have our work cut out for us, but this concludes the episode 28 compilation video. So I just wanted to kind of bundle all these up just for the sake of redundancy. I mean, we're doing the same thing to each system here. So I figured I'd just bundle them up, get them all in one video for you. And like I said earlier, I'll put the link in the description to each long play video for each system. If you're into that sort of thing and want to watch them, you can go to the description and follow the link. Anyway, that will wrap up this episode. Thanks for watching. Up in your top right, as always, you can click the link to take you to the playlist. Top left, you have your subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.